Have you ever heard the saying, everything happens for a reason? It's a phrase we often hear when things go wrong. But do we truly believe it? When we're in the middle of a crisis, when our world feels like it's falling apart, it's hard to see any good in it. Today, let's explore this idea through a story. A story that might just change the way you see your own struggles. One day, a young man, his face streaked with tears, sought out a wise old man who lived deep in the forest. He was utterly distraught. The wise man, with a calm and gentle voice, asked him what was wrong. The young man sobbed. Everything. Everything I owned is gone. I was attacked by robbers on my way here. They took all my belongings, my money, everything. I have nothing left. I don't even have a way to get back home. How can this possibly be for the better? This is the worst thing that could have happened. The wise man listened patiently, his eyes full of understanding. He didn't offer empty platitudes. Instead, he said, I understand your pain. It feels unbearable right now. But let me tell you a story. It might help you see things from a different perspective. He began. Once, there was a small village nestled by a river. One year, the rains were relentless, and a terrible flood swept through the village, washing away homes, fields, and livelihoods. Among the villagers was a poor farmer. The flood destroyed his small hut, ruined his crops, and even swept away the tiny store of grain his family had saved. They had lost everything. The farmer's son, seeing his father's despair, tried to console him. He said calmly, It's okay, father. Whatever has happened for our good. Hearing this, the farmer flew into a rage. How can you say such foolish things? He yelled. Our home is gone. Our food is gone. We have nothing. How can this be good? In his anger, he shouted at his son, Get out of my sight. Leave me alone. Heartbroken, the boy turned and walked away, tears streaming down his face. As evening fell, the farmer's anger cooled and turned into regret. His son hadn't returned. He began to worry. Just then, he heard shouts. A rescue boat had arrived, navigating the floodwaters to save the stranded villagers. As the farmer and his wife were pulled to safety, one of their neighbors said, You scolded your son for no reason. He was right all along. This flood, as terrible as it was, brought this rescue boat. We are saved because of it. But the farmer couldn't see it. He replied bitterly, Saved? How are we saved? We have no home, no food. What will we do now? Where will we go? His wife, a woman of quiet strength, placed a hand on his arm. We may not have money, she said softly, but we still have each other. Don't lose hope. I can find work washing clothes in the nearby houses. We will find a way. We will survive. The next day, clinging to that small shred of hope, the farmer went to the city to look for work. He went from door to door, from shop to shop. But everywhere he went, the answer was the same. No work. His heart grew heavier with each rejection. He thought of his ruined home, his lost son, and his empty pockets. He sat down by the side of the road, buried his face in his hands, and wept. How can this be good? He sobbed. I've lost everything. His wife found him and comforted him. Don't give up, she urged. Please, just try again. So, the next day, he did. He walked the same streets, asked the same questions, but again, found nothing. Dejected, he started the long walk home when he crossed paths with a wise old man. The man saw the deep sorrow in the farmer's eyes and asked him what was wrong. The farmer poured out his story: the flood, the destroyed home, the lost crops, and his son who had run away. After listening to the entire tale of sorrow, the wise man simply said, That is why I tell you. What happened was for the good. The farmer, already on edge, exploded. How can you say that? Are you mocking my pain? I've lost everything. The wise man just smiled gently. The answers you seek will come with time. Be patient. Don't worry so much. Days turned into weeks. The farmer and his wife struggled, but they held on. Then, one day, their luck changed. The farmer found a job with a wealthy merchant. This merchant was a kind man. He treated the farmer well and was so impressed with his hard work that he offered him a small house to live in nearby. For the first time in a long time, the farmer felt a flicker of peace. One evening, there was a knock at their new door. The farmer opened it and froze. Standing before him was his son. He was dressed in clean clothes and looked healthy and strong. "Father," the son said, his voice thick with emotion, "I searched everywhere for you. I didn't know you had moved." He then explained what had happened. "That day you told me to leave, I went straight to the city to find work. I got a small job, saved every penny, and eventually started my own little tea stall. Slowly, I built a new life for myself, hoping to one day find you and bring you to live with me." The farmer threw his arms around his son, tears of joy streaming down his face. As he held his son, a profound realization washed over him. The flood had taken his old life, a life of poverty and struggle, but it had also pushed his son to create a new, better life. It had led him to a kind employer and a new home, even when everything seemed to be going wrong. A much larger unseen plan was unfolding, a plan that only time could reveal. The wise man finished his story and looked at the young man. The young man was quiet for a moment. He said, "I understand the story, but in my case, my things were stolen. I didn't get pushed into a better opportunity. I just lost everything. What good can possibly come from that?" Still confused and disheartened, he thanked the wise man and turned to leave the forest. Just as he took a few steps, he heard a cry for help. An old woman had stumbled on a route and fallen, twisting her ankle badly. She was in great pain. Without a second thought, the young man rushed to her side. He looked at his own meager possessions. All he had left in the world was the cloth shirt on his back. He took it off, tore a strip from it, and gently wrapped the old woman's injured ankle, creating a makeshift bandage. The old woman looked up at him, her eyes filled with grateful tears. "You have nothing," she whispered, "and yet you gave me the last thing you had. You are a truly blessed soul." In that singular, powerful moment, everything clicked for the young man. He had lost all his material possessions. Yes, but he hadn't lost his kindness. He hadn't lost his compassion. He hadn't lost the heart that feels for another's pain. He still had the capacity to help. Maybe the wise man was right, after all. Just then, the wise man stepped out from behind a tree. "You see," he said with a warm smile, "you have just proven the lesson yourself. The robbers took your things, but they could not take who you are. And because you are here, with an open heart, I have something for you." He held out his hand. In his palm was a small, glowing stone. The young man's eyes widened in disbelief. It was a philosopher's stone, the legendary stone that could turn ordinary metal into gold. He looked from the stone to the wise man, his mind reeling. He whispered, "If my belongings hadn't been stolen, I wouldn't have been so desperate. I wouldn't have come into this forest to find you. I wouldn't have been here to help that old woman. And I would never have found this incredible treasure." So, what can we learn from this? Life is unpredictable. There will be times when it feels like we've hit rock bottom, when we feel lost and broken. But no matter how bad things seem, time has a way of changing everything. Those painful moments, they do pass. It's so important to never make a permanent decision based on temporary pain. Sometimes, our worst days, our biggest losses, are just setting the stage for the most beautiful and unexpected chapters of our lives. Trust the process. Trust your journey. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that aims to inspire and uplift. See you in the next video.